Hey folks, today we have a computer video. We're going to take a look at my gaming rig, or as more appropriately named, my Windows machine, but we'll just call it the gaming rig because it has the gaming graphics card in it. My gaming rig, as you all know, is a Sandy Bridge based computer that has a Core i5 2500K in it, 16 gigabytes of DDR3 RAM, a gigabyte AMD Radeon R7 370 with 2 gigs of video RAM, and a 250 gig SSD and a couple hard drives. So there's the phone. Give me a minute. Anyway, yeah. So it has two hard drives in it. I think two. I can't remember. Let's take a look. Yeah, it's two. Yeah, it's got the 250 gig SSD up here and 2 hard drives down here. One holds all the games. One just holds a bunch of random stuff on it. And this computer is used for Windows related tasks. Most of my machines are Linux now, but I still have one dedicated Windows machine. This thing runs Windows 10 and it plays a bunch of the games and does virtualization and amongst other things. It doesn't get pushed too hard, but you know, I need some decent juice to push it. I mean, I have enough RAM in it. But you may notice the CPU heatsink is gone and there's just the Core i5 2500K sitting there. Well, I've been doing some thinking. Around this time of year, I tend to get a little short on cash. For one reason or another. I guess it's just luck. Or stupidity, you know. These things happen. So I've been selling a few things off that I don't need around here. And a lot of the stuff that moves very fast is computer-related hardware. Laptops, netbooks, CPUs, RAM, you know, whatever else that I can hawk off. And one thing that sells like hotcakes right now is the Core i5 2500K. I posted one, I forget how long ago, and it sold within a couple hours. So these things definitely sell like hotcakes. So what I did to make some money, since these you can get quite a bit of money for these, is I thought, what chip can I put in this 2500K's place that would still give me enough power, still give me the quad-core functionality. Basically, what's a chip where I would have to sacrifice the least? That chip is right here, and it was the best price I could find on just about any chip out there. This is a Core i5 2500S model rather than the 2500K that's in the motherboard. Now, the only really big sacrifice to me between these two is that the K has HD 3000 graphics, which would be nice if this graphics card ever cuts out. But I remind myself, I use this computer for Windows tasks and gaming. If the graphics card goes out, I probably won't be gaming at all. To be honest, I barely game anyway as it is, so it really doesn't matter that it would have HD 3000 or not. So I found a Core i5 2500S for about $75, and the Core i5 2500K sells well above that. So I'm not really sacrificing much. The clock speed's a little lower. It's 2.7 gigahertz instead of 3.3, I think. But that's really not a big deal. Also, what's really nice about this chip is since it's the S model, it uses less power. It's a 65-watt chip. And I leave this computer on pretty much 24/7, so having a lower wattage chip is definitely being nicer to the power bill, especially when I'm taxing that circuit already with a lot of computers on it. So there you have it. There's the little buddy. So I'm gonna stick this chip in here, and I'm gonna stick this chip in here, put the heatsink back on, and then we'll take a look at it with the machine booted up and just see how it runs. Pretty basic rundown. This is literally just a CPU swap. So I'll give you a good look at each chip and everything. Here are the two chips. Here's the 2500K, and here's the 2500S. 2.7 gigahertz on the S model. You can see that properly now. On this one, it's 3.3. So I'm really not sacrificing a whole lot. It's still The 2500S still has all the virtualization features I care about. It uses less power. It still has all 4 cores on it. The only really big sacrifice you're making is the HD 3000 graphics, but luckily on this computer that doesn't matter that much. On a computer where I did use the integrated graphics, I would actually care about that, but on a computer like this, it really doesn't matter that much, because I just replaced a dead graphics card with another graphics card anyway, because it's dual purpose, its secondary purpose is a gaming rig. So, you know, there you have it. This guy will be on eBay pretty soon and probably sell in a New York minute, whereas this guy will probably stay in that computer for a very long time. And of course, I still have the same heatsink, one of these Dynatron heatsinks. I forget what model this is. It's a good one though. They remind me a lot of the Masscool heatsinks, only they're much better quality. So I'm gonna wipe off these chips, put the S in the computer, and we'll boot it up just to see if the thing works. Okay, I got the machine back where it's supposed to be. It'll show up on this monitor over here. So let's turn her on. See what happens. Hit that delete key on the keyboard here. See if we can get to this BIOS. Ah, rebooted. Which means it recognizes the CPU, I think. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Okay, I got her to run. Pro tip, folks. Remember to plug in the CPU connector. Don't be a dumbass like I was. But once I plugged that connector in, boom, it worked. I also had to plug in a PS2 keyboard here to get into the BIOS, so I chose one of these compact keyboards I love so much. Anyhow, we're in. Let me grab the keyboard. Actually, this is what things are made of, folks. I have a keyboard up here, but I have to use one in my lap just to navigate the BIOS. Yep. So, just proof that it works. This is the Core i5-2500S in action in the BIOS. If you look in here, you get all the information you need. It's clocked at 2.7, but it seems to be running much higher. I've noticed if you look at the non-turbo frequency, right there versus the turbo frequency, you can see the turbo frequency is still pretty much just as good as the 2500K was. Now I believe my phone's calling me for dinner, so I'll be back to finish this. Anyhow, if I can sit down for 5 minutes and actually speak, we can finish this video. So, as I was saying before, there's the Core i5-2500S running at its 2 different speeds, the max turbo, or the turbo and the non-turbo. 16 gigs of RAM with the 2 8-gig DIMMs. Alright, I have to grab the keyboard. Come here, keyboard. Alright. What else do we have? Yeah, there's the CPU clock ratio at 27, so it does recognize the CPU properly, which is good. So we're going to boot into Windows now. Although I'd like to unplug this keyboard, so I'm going to do things the hard way. Off. And grab that PS2 connector and come here, you. Yank it out. Anyway, let's turn that thing back on. Oh. You can watch her boot up nice and quick. There you go. Oh, look at that. It's a computer on the screen. It's watching a video. Anyhow, let's log in here. There you go. Could not connect to network drives. Yeah, I need to unmap that drive. But there you go. It's booted up into Windows just fine. So let's go to this PC here. There you go. 2500S. When I swapped out the CPU, I did have to uninstall the current CPU from Device Manager for it to recognize this properly. Because as you can see now, it has 16 gigs of RAM. It recognizes the 2.7 gigahertz and the Turbo 3.7 up there. Although, I've noticed one thing. If I go into... let me do the three-finger salute here. Come on. Three-finger salute. If you take a look at the CPU in Task Manager, it goes up to like 4 point something gigahertz. I'm not sure how accurate this is, but I just thought I'd make note of that. It's supposed to turbo at 3.7 rather than 4 point whatever. I don't think this is the most accurate CPU gauge in the world. It's a little unusual. Anyhow, there you go. Things run the same. Things are still just as quick. Open up PuTTY, it's fast as hell. Everything is fine. So, by using this Core i5, 2500S, I am saving energy by using a 65-watt chip. I'm really not sacrificing any speed because it's still a quad-core and it still turbos up to 3.7 gigahertz. And the only sacrifice I really made was the HD 3000, which is fine because I have the AMD graphics card in here. So, I'd say that was a successful, I guess a side grade, because it didn't really lower my performance or raise it that much, because it can still turbo pretty fast. Yeah, now I'm going to stick the 2500K on eBay and get a bunch of money for it and take advantage of this deal I got. This, folks, is being smart with your computer hardware as far as money goes. If you're in a tight space and you have a top-notch CPU, you can usually sell it for some pretty good money on eBay and get something maybe slightly different that's cheaper but isn't terrible. Like this. Like this was the perfect side grade right here. I absolutely got lucky on this one. It's a okay, Facebook. It's a good move to make. You know, it definitely helped me, and it'll keep me gaming on this computer just as well as the 2500K did. Anyhow, I just figured that was a little tidbit there. I think I should end this video with emptying your opinion. There, I emptied your opinion. Have a good one, everybody. Ciao.